Hello my fellow gamer, it's Griffin here and welcome to another PoE2 video. Today we'll summarize the information we have so far regarding PoE2 Early Access and we'll highlight the main points from GGG's massive official announcement. We are so close, just few days away, I cannot wait. Now let's dive in. In the Early Access we have 6 classes to choose from. Monk, Warrior, Ranger, Sorceress, Witch, and Mercenary. But there will be 12 classes when the game will launch. Each class starts in a different location on the passive skill tree, but all classes share the same tree, so each class has the potential to specialize in hybrid builds. As Jonathan Rogers mentioned, experimentation is encouraged and it can lead to very powerful combos. For example, Chronomancer, one of Sorceress's ascendancies, with enough points invested on the passive skill tree, can specialize in maces and skills associated with maces if weapon and skill requirements have been met. Compared to PoE 1, in PoE 2 we have 1 life flask and 1 mana flask that can gain charges as we kill monsters. Also we'll have access to charms that automatically defend against the different debuffs or damage types. Each class has access to a new type of resource called Spirit. We can use Spirit to summon minions, totems, activate auras or persistent skills like Arctic Armor and more. Each character has dodge roll and can be controlled with WASD. Ascendancies. In Early Access there will be 2 ascendancies available for each class and 3 ascendancies when the game will launch. But what are ascendancies and how do we ascend? We can look at ascendancies as being specializations for our character, fulfilling the fantasy of playing certain archetypes. For example, Warrior can ascend or specialize to become a Titan or Warbringer, an ultimate form unique to that specific class. How to ascend? There will be 3 ways to ascend in PoE 2, but only 2 available at the start of the Early Access. Trial of Sechemus and Trial of Chaos. Trial of Sechemus has its own unique challenges and honor system. Losing the honor will end the trial. The Trial of Chaos has a risk-reward system. For both type of trials we'll encounter a boss at the end that we'll need to defeat. Once we complete the entire sequence of challenges and will defeat the boss, we'll gain 2 points to allocate into one of the 2 ascendancies available for that class. It was mentioned by Jonathan Rogers that once a character ascended, we cannot reverse the process. Therefore, we need to be certain as it is quite an important decision. Later in the game, we can perform high-level trials to gain 2 more points for each trial we complete to a maximum of 8 points. I'm not sure at this stage what is the maximum number of points we can gain during Early Access. If you do have this information, feel free to share it in the comment section below. Now let's talk about active skills and support gems. In PoE 2, the way active skills and support gems work has been significantly changed compared to PoE 1. In PoE 2, there is a separate menu dedicated to active skills and support gems, and each active skill may have up to 5 support gems already linked. A very important note, we can only have 1 of each support gem per character. I think this is a great decision made by GGG as it encourages creativity and careful planning. Passive skill tree. There are more than 1500 nodes on the passive skill tree. These nodes can be attribute nodes, quite self-explanatory, increases specific stat like intelligence, dexterity or strength, small nodes that usually give a small bonus, notables that give a significant bonus and impact how the build works and also how the character performs, and last but not least, keystones that can be build defining and have 1 significant upside and also 1 significant downside. If we manage to overcome or work around the downside, the result can be extremely rewarding and powerful. The passive skill tree allows our character to specialize in 1 or even 2 weapon types, and we can swap between the 2. Warrior, for example, can specialize in one weapon type or in wielding two-handed weapons, the downside in this case being double attributes requirements. We can get weapon specialization points if we defeat certain bosses or complete certain quests. Now let's talk about items. In PoE 2, items are divided in 4 categories: normal, magic, rare, and unique. Using certain currency items, we can upgrade the items we find into more powerful versions. For example, an orb of transmutation can upgrade a normal item to a magical item with 1 guaranteed mod. An orb of augmentation adds a second mod to a magical item. A regal orb upgrades a magical item into a rare one and adds a third mod. An exalted orb adds additional mods to a rare item, up to 6 mods in total. There are other crafting materials like essences that can be found by fighting specific monsters. Essences are very useful in more deterministic crafting as they guarantee a certain mod like movement speed or attack speed. As mentioned by Jonathan Rogers, they significantly increase the rate drop for currency items, and it would make early crafting and upgrades easier and more achievable. Having more crafting items available from the beginning most certainly will have a significant impact for PoE 2's economy, and we'll need to wait and see how things will shape up in this regard. We can also disenchant the items we don't need. Disenchanting magic items can build up towards an orb of transmutation. Disenchanting rare items can build up to a regal orb. We can salvage armor or weapons that have quality and can build up to armor scraps or whetstones. We can use these items to improve the quality of our character's armor or weapons for up to 20% boost. We can also sell the items we don't need for gold, and that will allow us to buy other items from vendors. With gold, we can even respect the points we allocated on the passive tree. As mentioned by Jonathan Rogers, in PoE 2, all items are freely tradable except gold. To add sockets to an item, we can use an Artificer Orb. Body armor and two-handed weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while helms, boots, and gloves can have up to 1 socket. We can add Azimite runes into sockets to add additional mods on top of the maximum 6 that the item may already have. Disenchanting an item with sockets can build up towards an Artificer Orb. In recent teasers released by GGG, we had a glimpse of what to expect in the endgame in PoE 2, and the items they presented were pretty wild and crazy strong. This stuff is quite insane, requires level 90, and besides pretty strong mods, offers +5 to level of all lightning spell skills, which is bananas, crazy strong. Approved. This scepter gives +3 to all minions' skills, 97% increased spirit, and significant increase in damage, cast speed and life for allies or minions in your presence. And yes, minions count as allies. These are just a couple of examples, and they look amazing. If this is what we should expect in endgame and more, then I'm so ready. I cannot wait. A quick side note, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. It will help the channel a lot and would be much appreciated. Now let's talk about endgame. After finishing the first 3 acts, we'll start the campaign again and we'll face all these challenges but at a higher difficulty with rewards to match. This new difficulty is called Cruel. As Jonathan Rogers described it, it's more like a Game Plus. When the game will launch, we'll have 6 acts to progress through before we can access the endgame, but during early access, and obviously this is subject to change, there will be 3 acts plus Cruel difficulty. Once we'll finish Act 3 on Cruel difficulty in the early access, we'll unlock the endgame Atlas, an infinite map that expands in all directions. We'll discover waystones, equivalent of maps from PoE 1, and once we've completed that map, we can progress to the ones adjacent to it. If our character dies during this challenge, the map can no longer be run and we'll need to find another path around that node. In the early access in endgame, we'll have Breach, Ritual, Delirium, and Expedition. Trial of Chaos and Trial of Secamus will still be available at higher tier in endgame. Each one of these game mechanics comes with unique rewards, boss encounters, but only some of these game mechanics will drop tablets. Using these tablets in the Lost Towers across the Atlas will add more challenges and rewards for that specific game mechanic in maps within the Lost Towers area of influence. Most notably, in Breach we can find Breach rings that with proper crafting can be the most powerful rings in the game. In Ritual we can buy omens using the tribute we've gained. Omens are very powerful crafting items that can help in deterministic and fine-tuned crafting. For example, while the omen is active, the next exalted orb will add only prefix modifiers. During Delirium we can find distilled emotions that allow to instill an amulet with a notable from the passive tree. It is important to mention that during Trial of Sekemas at higher tiers, we can find jewels that can be crafted and inserted in different jewel sockets on the passive tree for significant power gains. At certain stages during Trial of Chaos, the Trial Master may offer Vaal orbs that when used can bypass the restriction for certain items and can make them even more powerful. For example, can add a third socket to a body armor that by default has a maximum number of 2 sockets. A word of caution: there is a chance for these Vaal orbs to brick the item entirely. Sometimes the Trial Master can offer soul cores that are powerful craftable items with mods that are not available on regular runes. There is an Atlas passive tree that will allow our character to specialize in endgame content, and also smaller trees where our character can specialize in killing certain bosses specific to certain game mechanics. There is also a small Atlas tree that will allow our character to specialize in killing the pinnacle boss. Now let's talk about how to gain early access for PoE 2. If you purchased in the past a top tier supporter pack for $480 for PoE 1, or multiple purchases in PoE 1 to a total of $480 on a single platform, then you should get the key for free. If not, by purchasing a $30 supporter pack, you'll get the key for the early access, extended digital soundtrack, and 300 points to spend in the PoE store. There are even more expensive supporter packs with even more rewards. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more PoE 2 videos, as we'll cover this game extensively on this channel. If you're planning to play in the early access, please let us know in the comment section below the class you'd like to play first. Thank you so much for watching. All the best. Bye.